Hey guys, here's a project I was working on recently. I just finished it like 2 days ago. This cooler was green originally, which I'll show the pictures in the process. It was really rusty and crappy looking. The bottom was like total rust. Some of it surface rust, some of it was holes. I mean, in the video it doesn't look too bad, but it's not as good as it might seem. I mean, if I was to zoom in and really show you, there's rust holes still in it. I wasn't going to do body work on it, you know. It's not a car, so. But it looks better. It's an old family cooler. We've had this thing for years. Thing's so old it don't even latch right anymore. You got to put weight on it, or it don't seal worth a darn, but looks a lot better than it did. In the pictures you'll see that the bottom of it was brown from the rust. Right now there's some dirt and stuff on it, but it's painted. That color, if you notice, is actually a little lighter because I was running out of the paint that I painted this with, but there it is. And unfortunately I didn't tape it off too well, and there's a little overspray and primer and paint in a few spots, but who cares, you know. It's just a cooler and it works. Looks better than it did. Here we are, 63 Impala. You asked me if I made a video on my tripod, so I am now. If you look right here, you can see this is the original part of the handle. And it used to stop like right around in here, and it snapped right off right under this section here. So this is just, you know, a handlebar cover off of a bike handlebar set. And took that off, and I started out to put black RTV around and fill it inside, and then this came off the other end of the handlebar, which piece here. This is the other part of it. Part of it was broken. You see how it's split. So put that on, and then I found it wasn't working. It was spinning. So then I went and I got some of that JB weld and put that on here, and now it works great. You know, before you couldn't tighten it down and keep it, you know, but now it swivels, does everything you want it to do, and then you turn that and it stays right where you want it. But this is an old one. This one my grandfather gave to me years ago. And if you fully extend this thing out, you almost need a step ladder to get up to the camera then. But back at the time when I got this, I also have a camera that is old. It was made in the 80s. It was one of them VHS that went up on here. And then you put one of these smaller new cameras, like the one I'm using right now, and it looks kind of goofy, but it works pretty good. So, there's the tripod. There we go. This one's for Pug 1, or One Pug Life. He just got a cub cadet here a few weeks ago. And I figured I'd show him a real cub cadet. This one was made in the 60s. This thing is solid metal. Good tires. It's got one of those horizontal shaft engines instead of a vertical. Had to put a new carburetor in, got a few parts for it, but the front end of this thing is solid. I think it's cast iron, and this thing runs great. But right now somebody left the key on, so it's got a dead battery. But this was our first lawnmower that we had when we moved into this residence years ago, and it runs good. I just would have to charge it and get it to run now that the battery's dead. But there you go, bud. There's a real lawnmower for you. Okay, this one's for Pisser. This, remember when I was out in your Subotaru, I was talking about a boat that we're out in there in like 6-foot waves, 6-foot roller, something like that. And I was saying it was an 18, 19-foot boat. I'm not exactly sure. And, you know, it's about like a foot difference of what it really is. I'd have to measure it. But this is the boat. And we were out there, geez, it was one of them camping trips to, trying to think. I think it was Wolcott Beach Campground. It's up there a ways past you. And we got out there and we were fishing. There was 3 of us in the boat. And we got out there, and all of a sudden the weather decided to just change right on a dime. And it got really nasty. And we were rocking and rolling. And what was a lucky break for us was we ended up with a big boat. You know, I mean, this thing, it was like one of them fishing trawlers almost, you know. It was a good-sized boat. And it come up and knew what we were doing, helped us so that we could turn around and go back into the inlet where we were staying. And then we got out of that, you know. But, I mean, this boat, if we didn't get that break, I don't know if we would have been able to turn around, because we were trying to stay from rolling it over. Them waves were pretty rough. It was windy. It was raining. There's some of this crazy weather that we're getting lately, just like that, almost like hurricane weather. Just whipped right up, took off, and took several hours after we had already got the boat in and out before it finally stopped. But I'd have to measure it. This is not the original motor on this boat. It used to have an Evinrude, I think it was like an 80 horsepower. This one's a Johnson Javelin 85 horse. Let's see if we can get it in here. Kind of a bad angle back here, but there you go. Those gauges and controls don't work no more. Those were the original ones up there. All that stuff is just, well, let me see. Those do. There's the lights, the horn, and the bilge pump, and then your speedometer. That's a replacement steering wheel. There's your controls. Those aren't the original controls, obviously. The original controls didn't have a key. It was just, you know, the throttle control. And your key switch used to be right there, and then the other one used to be a like an overheat light or something like that. But this is the boat I was telling you about there, Pisser, and it's been in the family for years. It's I think I said it. It's a '66, and we've replaced the seats in it, which these seats actually suck. They're not the right size. They're supposed to be taller. And by the time we got them, it was too late. We had already bought them, already installed them, and realized as we were installing them. So, there you go, Pisser. There's the boat I was telling you about. Musty One, this one's for you. You recently showed that you had gotten a John Deere real cheap, and it was one of them newer deals. Now, I didn't realize what you were talking about. I thought it was the older style until you got out there and you showed it was one of the newer tractors. This is another one made from 60s, 70s. This is a 140. It was a popular horizontal shaft. And this is what we mow our lawn with on a regular basis. This one works pretty good. Unfortunately, you got to push in this handle here, and then you got to choke it, and then you can't hold that out because there's a safety switch down in here. So you got to hold that in. There's what we mow with, and that thing runs great. The hydraulics are a little goofy because it's hydrostatic. But works pretty damn good, and we've had this thing for, I don't know, 15 years at least, maybe 20 some years. I don't know. It's been a while. I think we bought it in the early 90s. And the only thing we've done is some minor maintenance on it, but it's the original engine that came with it. We bought this thing at an auction. It was used, and they had a whole bunch of them there. As you can see, there's a new starter on it because the original one finally died. And then the exhaust pipe's a little rough, but, you know, it still works. And I think we've done like a clutch on the front because the clutch wore out. And let me see, what was the other thing? I think we did like a kit on the carburetor because it started leaking. But otherwise, it's all original, same tractor. It's been painted. The seat cover was made because that's actually a replacement seat, because the original seat, the materials were disintegrating, the vinyl or whatever the heck they put on there. So this cover was made, actually it was made by my grandmother years ago. She used to make all kinds of, fix tents, sew things. She was wild. And so this is it. This is what we mow with.